What's up, everybody? It's the Common Sense Investor coming at you with another video. And in this video, I want to talk about remembering the 5th of July, because I know everybody just got through celebrating the 4th of July, and they think that that's the day that we signed the Declaration of Independence and we declared our independence to Britain, and the war began. The Revolutionary War began. All right, that's true to a point, but most people don't understand what happened when they signed that declaration. They had approximately 2.5 million people living in 13 colonies, and Britain would send supplies over there, and when they bought the supplies, they had to pay taxes on the supplies, and they didn't have a say in how much they paid in taxes. They weren't represented, the colonists weren't represented in Parliament. And then when the rubber finally met the road, they said, you know what, since we don't have any representation in Parliament, we declare our own independence and we'll create our own government. And that's what they did on the 4th of July. Now, I've heard Charles Payne make a connection and say that the meme stock frenzy is kind of like the American Revolution. It's the retail investor revolution against the big banks of Wall Street trying to stop corruption and stuff like that. And that's true. But I've told y'all in the past that it's more than that. All right? In every revolution, the American Revolution, this revolution, and any revolution in the past has all boiled down to one factor: representation. The people do not feel as if they're being adequately represented in their government, so they rebel. That's how the American Revolution got started. That's how the civil rights movements got started. The revolution, all right, of saying we want representation in Washington. And they didn't stop till they got it, all right? And we look at today. Now, let's talk about the revolution that they say is happening today, all right? And what does it mean? It means we have no representation, all right? And the people are rising up, and they're mad at us for rising up because they're not representing us, all right? When you watch a Donahue George video and you hear Donahue George say, where's the SEC? Where's the DOJ? Where's the FBI? He's saying, where's the representation of the people? We're fed up with not being represented. That's what every revolution is about. Now, let me bring that home to y'all to AMC, all right? Do you understand that for the past 2 years, you have not been able to vote for who sits on the board or the government of AMC? For the last 2 years, they've taken our right to vote on who sits on that board and represents the shareholders and the company away from us. They've told us for the past 2 years that Adam Aaron will be the chairman. Now, we have a choice. Do we want to have him for 1 year, or do we want to have him for 3 years? All right? No choice of whether we want him or not. It's how long do you want him? All right? What about Philip Lauder? People say they don't feel as if he represents them. Have you been able to vote Philip Lauder out? No. All right? So we have no representatives in AMC as shareholders. And this revolution that everybody's talking about is because of that. Nobody represents retail investors and shareholders in AMC, and nobody represents us in our government, and in Congress. Maybe a handful like Brad Sherman, all right, who stands up for retail investors, and he'll go toe-to-toe with King Griffin, all right? But the rest of them, they kiss King Griffin's ass, and they kiss the asses of the exchanges, the very people that rob us. And I want you to watch this clip by Bill Hunsinger, all right? Sitting on the House, supposed to represent the people. And he's laughing and joking like he's in the gym or something with these people. And they're his friends. And he's mocking the very regulatory agency that's supposed to protect us. All right? He's laughing with them that they're filing lawsuits against the people who's supposed to protect us. He thinks it's a joke. Watch.
The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Huizinga, who is also the chair of the Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations, for 5 minutes for questions.
But I want to talk to you a little bit about the SEC. Courts have weighed in, again, a couple of times. They continue to get hammered for the decisions that they're making, and it just seems to me that we're back in this hamster wheel of decision-making coming out of the SEC. And seem to recall that I think that's one of the major tenets of the SEC is to investor protection. I think I might have to go back and check my notes on that one, but their constitutional lane that they have to actually operate in, because the courts have been slapping them down on a regular basis. Professor Brogard, as you know, payment for order flow information is publicly available and is subject to scrutiny by FINRA and the SEC. If there were glaring cases of misconduct or examples of market participants ignoring best execution obligations, then presumably we would have seen enforcement actions on that front, correct? And my understanding is that that's not the case.
That is correct. The payment for order flow information is currently required to be disclosed, and I couldn't tell you of an instance where there's been an action based off the payment for order flow.
And is there any academic research to say that payment for order flow is hurting or isn't hurting the average retail investor?
There's a reasonable amount of research on payment for order flow, and I would say the overwhelming consensus is it is positive to at worst neutral for the end investor.
Okay, sounds like protecting the investor again. All right, would you explain why certain research demonstrates the current process where wholesalers pay broker-dealers for trade actually may help those investors?
I'll try to do that in a minute and 30 seconds.
Or less, since I've got one more question, but go ahead.
Okay, yes, I think it's specialization. Wholesalers are experts at what they do, and what they do is take retail orders and search for the best available price along with other characteristics that are important to retail investors and help brokers execute those trades.
Okay, well done on that, by the way.
Whew, that's enough. I could practically smell Ken Griffin's ass in this man's breath as he's talking, because he's got his head so far up Ken Griffin's ass is stupid. All right, he's going to sit there and mock the SEC. All right, and he's going to sit there and talk about how payment for order flow and market makers and these exchanges all have the best interests of retail in mind. So that means, since you want to represent them, Mr. Bill Huizinga, we now vote you out. Since he cannot represent the people like he's paid to do up there in Washington, we can kick his ass on out and we'll go with the next son of a bitch, and maybe they'll learn their lesson that if they don't represent the people, then we can vote them out. Now, let's talk about the 5th of July, because everybody celebrates the independence and the Revolutionary War and everything, but there was a 5th of July, and by the 5th of July, I mean it just got started. All right, and it went on for years, the war did, all right? And nothing that anybody has ever fought for that was meant anything happened immediately. And we get upset because it's been 3 years, but I was just watching a movie called Dirty Water or something like that about DuPont dumping the chemicals into the river and making everybody sick and killing them. All right, and that battle went on for 16 years. They fought DuPont till finally they won. All right, so yeah, it's discouraging, and yeah, we want to give up sometimes, and yeah, a lot of us have fallen by the wayside. Some have sold, and some have passed away. All right, but we continue to fight. But we continue to fight correctly, and we send a message to these people. Sign the petition to get rid of Ken Griffin out of our stock market, and if they don't listen to us, then we vote them out. And with that, love y'all. Be blessed. See you in the next video.